Oh, sorry. 1 second. It looks like the bonks are not working properly. Oh, come on, Twitch. What? Why? Oh. All right, 1 second. VTube Studio broke on me. Give me a second. Of course. I had everything loaded up perfectly and decided, no, you can't exist. Why would you possibly exist? Well, you know what? Now it's fixed. I apologize. Give me a second. Let's do this real quick. Where is it? Okay, we have this one. Oh, I can't redeem it. I have to wait for the cooldown too. That is insane. Well, you know what they say. I don't know what they say. Chat, I need a saying. Give me a saying real quick. Somebody give me a saying that I can say now that is applicable. I'm ready. I'm waiting for it. Somebody has to fill in to make me sound smart. Good things come. To those who wait. Yes. Good things come to those who wait. That's... Hello, Crucy. Thank you for the bits, Crucy. Okay, so, what is this music? What am I playing? Give me a second. That is too much for me right now. What about some jazz? There we go. There we go. That's better. 8 minutes and 49 seconds late? No. Technically. Anyways, so, Southern, right. All right, everybody, how is your music makes me irrationally mad? Fine, no, we're going to play my music. All right, let's see how many people leave after I play one of my favorite songs. You ready? We're going to play the song that I love so very, very much, that is stuck in my head. Y'all can listen to my music. Are we ready? Are you ready? Okay, here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2... What is it? Oh, it's going to take a little while. It's got to start up. Too bad you got to be ready. Kind of stuff I listen to every morning to wake me up a little bit. Because this is what you wanted, right? This is what you wanted. Where is it? Come on. Here it is. And this is what I normally listen to. But yeah, this is what they call experimental noise. Noise. It is noise. It's the noise genre. I love noise. But yeah. I like noise. I like industrial. I like death metal. I like punk. I like ska. I like country. I like western. 2 different genres, by the way. I like hip hop. I like trap metal. I like trap. I like a lot of music, all right? And I mean, it's all about the way music makes you feel, right? And that music makes me feel energized and woken up and feels great. Put your wallet away. Why is your music bad? Because I like the best bad music out there. Most of my music is bad in an amazing way. Anyways, I'm going to order some Indian food while we're talking here. Give me a split second. What do you mean there's a hype train? Ain't no way how's there a hype train? What are we doing? We just started. There cannot be a hype train already. I'm ordering my Indian food with my garlic naan and my garlic cheese naan. Gonna add that to my checkout. No, what can I say? Girl, I could, but I've not looked at my butt today. So, all right, we're getting some chicken tikka masala, 2 for $1. So I got that, only paying $22 from that one. Got myself some garlic naan, some rice, some other naan, and I ain't anything to it. We're gonna do a. Can I do a scheduled delivery for after stream? Wait. Can I get this to show up after stream? Heck, that might be perfect, actually. Yeah. All right. I mess with this. We got this. Perfect. I'm so excited for this. Yeah, I'm gonna set it to like 6:15 or not. We'll do 6:30. Yeah. Amazing. All right. I can stream now. Y'all can have some of my tiki masala, right? Thank you for the gifted sub. Wait, what are y'all doing? Thank you for the subs and the biddies. Thank you, MC Bumble. All right, so you know the stand-up thing we do at the beginning of every stream, right? Right? What do we do at the beginning of every stream? Meow kitty? Mm-hmm. Make combustibles? We do not. No. We got to go through all of them, right? Yeah, there we go, Kamiya. Thank you. See? Yeah, exactly. So, wait, what was the question? Have you listened to Breakcore? I like Breakcore. Yeah. All right, where are we? I like Kamiya going through this like the teacher she is. Silver Fang, thank you for being first. MC Bumble, thank you for being third. And dear sweet Neeks, thank you for checking in. Wait. First, there's Telissima, thank you for getting second. Peekaboo, hello. I found you on TikTok like yesterday, and it only connected that you streamed today. No. You come back here, Anata, girly. Oh boy, I don't know what gender you are. I made a video specifically for this issue. You see, I went on to the TikToks and the YouTubes and the Instagrams, and I made a TikTok specifically addressing the fact that some of y'all do not know that I stream. How? How was it that it took you this long? Did you not see that video? Thank you for the bits. Thank you for the 140. I appreciate it. Fine. I gotta stop making more of them. All right. Sorry, we're doing our greetings. Give me a second here. All right. Katarina, thank you for checking in. MC Bumble, thank you for checking in. Silver Vang, hello. Hello, Talissima and Galactic and Mr. Harvest. Hello, Humina. Hello, Xenix. Hello, Red Moon. Hello, Rain Feather. Hello, Golden Boxing. Hello, Kitty Lover. I just realized I have not done a TikTok in this voice yet. Why have I not done that? Hello, Kitty Lover. Hello, Shadow Prism. Hello, Onyx the Shadow Wolf. Hello, Tasha and Yoshihiko. Hello, Selena. Hello, Ellie. And also for that one, hello, Luna. Hello, Ray. Hello, Galaxy. Hello, Cherry Blossom. Hello, Marine Wife. Hello, Asha and Kai. Hello, Gihu's Biggest Shrimp. I'm such a good doggy. Hello, Amelia. Hello, Buttertub. Hello, Red Faye. Hello, Sakona and Necro Ninja. Hello, Julia and Anada and Jaja Girl. Hello, Rail and Jocelyn and Cinda. Hello, Ariana. And hello, thank you for the hydrate, Elentia. Hello, Sky the Walrus and Night Blossom. Hello, Day of the Balkan. Hello, Ocean and Seven Saps. Hello, Assassin Angel. Hello, Zimmy and Uno Potato. Hello, Cruce. Hello, Uno Stable Raccoon. Hello, Echo and Tequila and Sif and My Chemical Flame. Hello, Kiana and Little Mouse. Hello, Oliver, the Tiny Wizard. You so small and tiny and itty bitty. Hello, Siren. Hello, Unicorn Tamer. Hello, Pebbles and Shadow Destroyer. Hello, Zen Moon. Hello, Sinful Microwave. I'm still wondering about the sins you committing, though you do commit plenty of them. Hello, Useless Huntress and Spookacaius. Hello, Mouse and Monkey. Hello, Annabelle. Hello, Son of the Sunshine and Shanka. Shanks. Sorry, I misread your name. Hello, Bellatrix and Poppy. Hello, Punkish. Hello, Discord Fox. And hello, Mods. Hello, Pan Dragon. Hello, I think we've done more than 2 minutes. Hello, Unicorn Tamer. Thank you for the follow. NS Nakorp. Hello, Thistle Thorn. Hello, Nakorp. Hello, Sky the Walrus. Hello, Divine Sparky and Harlequin. Hello, Caitlin. There we go. Hello, Maro. Hello, Poison. Hello, Useless Huntress and Ruby Shipmal. Hello, hello, Aeronaut. Hello, Jinx. Hello, Adma. Hello, Nelia. Hello, April or something. Hello, Meow Kitty Cat. Hello, Shiny Whatever. Hello, Ronan. Hello, Macaroni Cheddar and Sharky. Thank you for the follow, Sen Jolid. Jold. Hello, Sen. Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the Menagerie. Hello, Uki. Hello, Psycho Barbie Official. Hello, Christopher. Thank you for the Andre. Hello, Real Rabbit Wolf. Hello. Is that it? That's it. We're done. Woo! We've done it. Hello. Everybody who checked in, hello. You're all absolutely amazing. Mwah. My friend said hi. What's your friend's name? I'll say hello to them too. We should time these to figure out which one's the fastest. You see, the problem is, every once in a while, you'll get me on a tangent or a rant, and I'll start halfway through, I'll see something, and it's like, bam, I gotta talk about that forever. Ascare. Hello, Ascare, or Car. Yes. Okay, so, plans for today. I guess we could finally play Slime Rancher. I have been, talking about it. And I can't install any more games because I am out of data, so we might have to play Slime Rancher. RL Craft was fun. I could do RL Craft. I think we're almost out of our Minecraft era, which is going to suck because then I'm going to run out of things to do for the morning stream. I'm almost out of my 2-week Minecraft stage. I think I need to replan my Minecraft. I need to, start doing... actually trying to beat the game and focusing on that instead of building cool things, and then we can come back and build cool things, you know? So yeah, we might need to start doing just actually heading towards trying to beat the game. That way I don't just sit there and figure things out. I want to sell your morning streams. Oh, I want to... Oh, there's the bonk. Oh... I'm such a good doggy. But yes, Slime Rancher is a comfort game. Yeah, so we're going to try out it. And we'll see how it goes. Discord needs a Minecraft server. It is in the works, but I do want to bring up one thing. So, I'm going to be starting a new gaming thing. Potentially, it might be later on Tuesdays. We will see. Of my buddy named Wow Wow. He's actually thinking about starting to do some VTubing stuff. He's an amazing guy, and I might bring him in to start doing weekly survival games or bi-weekly survival games with me, just to test out a few games I've been looking at. So when he does join, be on your best behavior, be nice, be kind, and treat him like you'd treat me. Okay, no, treat him better than you would treat me. Lovely guy. Fantastic person. I've always looked up to him. Wouldn't say an older brother figure, but I'm such a good doggy, even though I'm not a dog. But he's funny, he's goofy. Me and him used to go play Call of Duty Warzone sometimes, and we would do stupid voices. Like we did the a New Zealander accent and just yelled at people while we're running around. Barely got any kills, but it was fun. Yeah, used to be fun. It was one of those... You ever have those friends from your old days that you're like, I probably shouldn't introduce them around anybody in any sort of normal conversation because I don't know what they're going to say? He was from that era of friends, but not one of those kind of friends. Just a lovely, amazing guy. Anyways, I told my friend she better catch next stream. We'll make her. All right, so we're going to be playing some Slime Rancher. Yes. We're so kind to you. I mean, you're mostly kind, Asher. You're mostly kind. Oh, well, I mean, you know my thing, right? Everybody knows my thing. I'm not a dog because I'm a human. See, I have human ears. See, I can't be a dog. I have human ears. Do you see this? Would a dog have that? Mm-hmm. I try to be kind. I try to be as kind as I can be. Can I say? Oh, what can I say? Ruff, ruff, I'm the best puppy, and my ears are fluffy. I don't know how they're fluffy, but, you know, they're human. How do I feel about pumpkin pie? Not bad. Honestly, though, like, okay, my favorite pie is like a strawberry rhubarb pie, but I love a good old-fashioned apple pie for Thanksgiving specifically, due to, you know, like, whipped cream and everything, right? Rhubarb bra. Okay, no, but what do you all? Give me your top pies right now. I need to know all of them. And also, key lime. Oh, key lime is so good. But key lime, no, okay, wait. Take a pause. Not the best pie for Thanksgiving or like for a large meal. You know, like let's say you have a feast. What pie do you want at the end of that feast? Thank you for the follow, Hoshi, and thank you for the follow, Goth Ghoul. Ooh, Goth Ghoul, I like your name. I like your name a lot. Are you a Goth Ghoul? Apple pie. Okay, pie. You've not had pie? Well, okay, I will teach you all how to make a pie. I don't know how to make a pie, but I'll figure it out, okay? At the end of a feast, I want a nap. But you gotta end with something sweet. You cannot load yourself up with so much savory for so long. Hubert squash? That sounds delicious, actually. For so long. And then not have something sweet to top it off, okay? Like you need a pizza pie. Onyx! You can make pie? Goth, you'll have to teach me. Thank you for the follow. Whoever just followed. My alerts are not keeping up, but the speaker in my ear is. Cheesecake. Okay. Yeah. Onyx knows. Bye, Galaxy. Be good. Pecan pie. Pecan or pecan? Let's see where y'all are from. Oh, thank you for the sub. Greatly appreciated, as always. And thank you for the follow, Cherry Blossom. Oh, the sub! Thank you for the sub! Heck, I appreciate that. Pecan? Yeah, the Wolfie. Yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you pronounce it. Pecan, I swear to all hell. Pecan, not pecan. I don't know, man. I think it could definitely be pecan. I mean, look at me. You think I would be mispronouncing my words like that? Nah, it's gotta be pecan. I mean, how else are you gonna do it? Pecone? Pecone. I'm supposed to be playing a game right now, y'all. Okay, let's get the category swapped over. Y'all are fun to hang out with. I hope you know that. Like, I would happily just sit here and vibe with y'all the entire time, but we have things to do. Ranching slimes, apparently. I don't know how you ranch a slime, but we're gonna do it. Oh no, it's the square. Which one of you did it? Who made there be a square there? I'm gonna blame somebody new. Who's new here? Goth, you're new. New, why? New. Goth, why'd you make there be a square on my screen? You're fine. What? It was me? Never. I would never do that. How? How would I even? Oh, it's gone now. See, I didn't do anything. Goth clearly put it away. New, why did you Goth? All right, we're looking good. How's the audio, sweeties? Anything too loud or too quiet? Besides it being slightly slightly too loud. Got it. I would like to turn it down myself because I'm getting very overstimulated very quickly. There we go. Game save icon. Raccoon Boy. Adventure. We're gonna name the game Voidlings. My lovely Voidlings. Y'all are fantastic Voidlings. I hope you know that. You know, I just realized, chat. You know, okay, so you know how Ice agreed to be some people's father. There we go. Mostly because I didn't want to get called daddy, but also like, you know, we'll be chilling, I'll be cool, and I can be a parental figure in the right situation. There are other VTubers who are also father, like Porcelain Maid. So if Porcelain Maid becomes my father, does that make him your grandfather? That's my question. Yes? Okay. No. I don't know Joel yet, so that's not a thing yet. That's not a thing yet. But if I do end up knowing Joel, that's what's gonna happen. Oh, we got a chicken. Yay. Get in here, chicken. Slime's the key to success. Wait, I gotta move my speaker. There we go. Fruits like veggies and chickens are used to feed... Did I feed the chicken to the slime? Wait! It's gone! It's gone! What? I didn't realize! No! That's... Oh, what? Oh, wait. Do I want this? Okay, wait. What is this? Do I want this? Maybe? No. Okay, fruits like veggies or chickens are used to feed slimes. Try shooting food at the pink slime. They'll eat anything. Okay. Okay, I understand now. We're good. Collect the poop. Is that poop? Can I shoot a slime out of slime? Anyway, sorry. We're back here. Hello, lovelies. I zoned out there for a second. Okay, so is this game just farming slimes? I vibe with it. Ooh, hello. I do vibe with it. I'm just curious. Because they mention adventure. Do I need to fight anything? Or do I get to just get slimes? Slime Rancher, perfect. Okay, you explore to find more slimes. I vibe with that. Okay, cool. That I can do. There's aggressive stuff? Chat, are you out there? Are you waiting for me in the bush to be aggressive and stuff? Wait, when slime when slimes eat, they make plorts. Oh, when slimes eat. Oh my! I'm not dyslexic. I swear. When slimes eat, they make plorts. Is that not hard to read? You're always waiting to be aggressive. I figured. Just pretty. Aw, thank you. Head over to the plort market to cash in your plort. Okay, cool. Oh. Where's the plort market? No. Okay. No. I think, oh no. Oh no. I'm gonna be stuck here for, oh, there's a star on the map! Okay. Shut up. Don't be looking at me like that. I'm trying my hardest, okay? There we go. Gives you new bucks for your shoot some plorts in the plow. Okay, I did that. You've learned the fundamentals. Now it's time to get out there and explore. Remember, the best way to become a pro is to experiment. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Cool. Okay. I'm so pretty. Y'all... You're lucky I like being called pretty, or else I would take offense to everybody calling me pretty whenever I do something stupid. Oh, right. Eat. What's the question? Gene, if you could have any mythical animal, what would you have? I feel like somebody's asked that question before. Ooh, dragon. I want a dragon. Now, today is a dragon day, or like I want a really small dragon though. Maybe like a pseudo dragon that just sits around on my shoulder, And then I can have his little wizard familiar. I want a false hydra, actually, and I'd like it to consume the locals of my local town. I would like the Bagman. Ooh, Cerberus is good, though. Ooh, I want Cerberus now. I'm taking Cerberus. You can't have them. Just keep it out of the basement? No. The basement's for the basement man. You know the basement guy. The cage guy. We talked about him this morning. Yeah, the cage man is there. You know what mythical creature I would like? A streamer who gets more than 8 hours of sleep, or who gets at least 8 hours of sleep and eats healthy. It does not overwork themselves. That's the mythical creature I would like. We can share the Cerberus. That's fair. I dig with that. I'll thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Yeah, you already answered me. To colonize all the slimes? That's what I'm trying to do. I don't know why I'm colonizing the slimes. They keep getting in the way. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Okay. Careful with how many you put in one corral. You should upgrade the walls or separate them. I refuse. I'm putting every single one of them in this entire game in that one corral. Music? What about music? Can you hear the music? They'll get out? No, they won't. Prove it. As long as I don't look, you can't. You can't, they'll die. Gene looks strawberry. What? What do you mean I look strawberry rhubarb flavored? What does that mean? Thank you for the stretch. Give me a second. We're just gonna... It is chaotic. The name's Hobson Twingle. The name is Hobson Twillagers? Rancher, explorer, and former owner of Here Ranch, you now call your own. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I was a rancher for more years than I can remember, and felt there was one last adventure left in me, so I set off to find just that. But before I go and taking one last tour around here, the land I love, so keep your peepers peeled for more notes like these. If you want to hear what an old coot has to say every now and again, be talking to you. Oh, thank you so much for the redeem. I'm just messing. Oh. Gene looks allergic to hard work. Valid. 100% valid. I only stream. That's not hard work. It's just a lot of easy work. It is a lot of easy work. I look like a Dr. Proper. I am now Dr. Proper. Hello, everybody. My name is now Dr. Proper. We're changing the stream name to Dr. Proper. No, it's Dr. Proper now. Are we deciding what flavor I am? Can I decide what flavor I am? I think I would be... Unfortunately, that part of my hand tastes exclusively like lotion. So, lotion flavored, I suppose. Oh. Slime, I'm sorry, but I must curse you into the void. Good luck on your journey. I believe in you. You'll survive! You'll do great things! He exploded into sparkles. That means he's alive, right? He's probably fine. That's what people do when they live. They sparkle. No, I only licked well, I bit myself, actually, but, you know, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. If Team Rocket can blast off constantly, then clearly the slime is just sparkly boys. I mean, would you rather I licked myself? I guess. That tasted more salty that time. So, you know, now we know what flavor I am. It's salt. Alright. Eat. Yes. Cosmic Cola or Mr. Sprinkle? Cosmic Cola. I don't know what Mr. Sprinkle is, and I'm a little worried to find out. Okay, what is this? Interesting. I want one. Give. Oh, wait, no, that's values for things. Okay. Oh. Okay, this is a thing. Salty, are you sweating? No, but I probably like sweat earlier. I mean, I did work out today. You don't like Dr. Pepper? Wow. Why do you hate me? Just kidding. Tank booster. Power core. Alright, can I upgrade you? Ooh. Purchase. I'm broke. Oh, that's too bad. Anyways. Woo! Hello, Wolfos Untamed. How you doing? I'm actually drinking strawberry and cream Dr. Pepper right now. Ooh, that's... Ooh, shiny! My bunny Pookie. The voice in my head read it as my bunny Poopy. I was very concerned there for a second. Hello, bunny Pookie. Welcome to the menagerie. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Black cherry flavor? I mean, I could be. No biting me. No, no bites. Illegal. That's a crime. Thank you for the hand pads. Oh, everybody's favorite shake? Ooh. Okay, wait. Wait, I have this. Who are those cat slimes? What do you mean there's cat slimes? Okay, wait, no, okay, if I banana, yes, I like banana. I like a banana split. Banana split is one of my all-time favorite things. Okay, so if I yeet the cat slime. What happened? Why he different? Wait, where's he? What is he? How'd this happen? When a papa slime and a mama slime love each other very much? Reading is hard, Carmia. I don't know how to read. Somebody has to read for me. I will make you all... Okay. You live here now. Congrats. Stop blocking me up. There we go. Okay. You have my Oshi marks? Oh, I'm glad. Thank you. Okay, if I put the tabbies in here, will they try to eat the other ones? I'm sure they're fine, right? Okay, I have... Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for the follow, by the way. Thank you so much for the follow. Thank you, No Name, for the follow. Welcome to the menagerie, and thank you, my buddy Pookie. Hi. All right. Now I can make the walls bigger. Purchase. I don't have enough money. I'm broke still. Okay. You be here. Wait, why are you a cat now? Are the slimes eating each other? Are the slimes eating each other? Don't eat my cat. No! Don't eat my cats. Okay. All right. I've saved the cats. Well, I don't know. I thought they'd be friends. And they've been eating each other. How dare they? Well, you can't blame me for that one. They crossbred. I mean, by eating plorts, do you mean they eat each other? I figured the cat might win. I don't know. Can't blame me for that one. Okay, it might have been. Wait. They eat poop and make breed. Yeah. What? I can't read. It's behind my microphone. Okay, I should have enough to read. They put it in the exact one space where my microphone covers on the monitor, which is so annoying. I didn't even realize there was messages there. Hello, editor Coltrane. That there was messages happening there, unfortunately. Can you not move it? No. I mean, I hypothetically could. But then I might not be as hearable. And that's important to me. I gotta be heard. Enjoy your eeps. I believe in you. Okay. There. I should have enough money to build a bigger cage, which isn't really gonna solve the problem we have. I don't know. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine. Enjoy your eeps. I'm not adaptable. I am not adaptable. I have the way I like to do things, and that makes my streams good. Are you trying to say my streams are bad? I'm also blaming me for your cold house. I actually went into your house earlier and was like, ah, ice cubes in all the vents. I breathed cold air into your shoes. I also just like brought in a little guy, and all he does is be really cold, and so he makes everything worse. You fumble with a cute goth? That's rough, bud. Do not fumble with a cute goth. Just a suggestion for next time. Try harder. Why would you ever want to fumble with a goth baddie? Breaking into houses? I would never. I was invited in. I'm like a vampire. Somebody invited me in, you just don't know who. You want a little guy that's just cold? Yeah. Chicken, I am going to sacrifice you. Enjoy being dead. Thank you for the bonk. Blue or chicken? Oh. Blue or chicken? Thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. Oh yeah, you also signed over like your life insurance if you were to pass to me once you followed the channel. I don't know if anybody noticed that rule, but yeah, thank you. I'm looking forward not to your death, but that if something tragic were to happen, that I will be taken care of. All right. Apparently we're gonna be doing this for us now. Hey, check us out. No, I can't open that. That's lame. Yeah, don't read. No, don't read. Why would you need to read? Reading is for nerds. You ain't a nerd, are you? Nah, y'all ain't nerds. Oh, wait. I'm sorry. Let me talk to your cat real quick. Oh. I died. Back into the void we go. I know. Well, look. That cat needed to learn who's boss. Oh, sorry. Ruff. Ruff. That's me telling your dog I will fight them actively. Stop eating the baby chickens. We need to make them grow into big chickens, then you can eat them. It's what you get for eating chickens. I'm talking to nothing. Bumble, I was talking to you. You just don't understand dog. Not that I'm a dog or anything, no. I'm telling your dog that they're allowed to have more chicken, and if they deny you the chicken, it's because you hate them. So yeah. You're forced to be here? Oh, cute. Well, welcome. Big cat, stop eating chickens! She was finally ill, it's not funny. That's fair. Don't feed raw chicken to him. Can you be free now? Oh no, sorry. So for all of you who are new here, we're gonna do this real quick. I don't think all of you know what this is, but I'd like to show you all something, okay? Yeah. No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Just gonna go down here real quick. So this is the basement I had made. You see, I had an idea, right? To make streams run a little bit, but hey, stop trying to run immediately. There we go. You're staying. You're not allowed to leave. Deal with it. Get in the cage. Stop. Not allowed. What is it? Where is our blanket fort? Well, it's below the screen. You just can't see it. But yes. Nope, back in the cage. Can't blame me for that. You also need to be in the cage longer. It's important that you get in the cage sometimes. May I go play Fortnite? You can go play Fortnite. Go do your Fortnite. Boop. Thank you for the head pats. Hello. There's a twist tie in your hamburger. Oh, that's awful. Was it homemade hamburger or like something that you bought from a restaurant? Because that depends on how... Oop. That depends on how awful this is. Okay. McDonald's. Ooh. Yeah, maybe go to a different McDonald's. That's my #1 suggestion. I would love sugar cookies. Chat, favorite cookies. Favorite cookies right now. List them all. Personally, Samoa's Girl Scout Samoa cookies are the best. Does Europe have Girl Scouts? Is that a thing anywhere else? Or is that just an American thing? Like, do y'all have a thing where you teach girls how to do, I don't know. Oh, okay. Why would we want fresh water? Can I grow crops? I need more money. Yeah. Or you teach girls how to, or, yeah, I don't know what Girl Scouts does, actually. I feel like Girl Scouts teaches girls how to be, I don't know, girls, I suppose? I thought I just had to keep collecting food. Don't look at me like, I too need more money, yes. Yeah. There we go. I thought I was just gonna keep collecting food out in the wild until, you know... You didn't think Girl Scouts were... What? You know, Girl Scouts, they sell cookies. It's one of the things they do. I mean, I know they do... Yeah, no, I know there's no right way to be a girl. You know what I mean. I guess, like... I don't know. But I know they sell cookies, and that's very important to me. Give me ports, give me rock ports, give me rock ports, give me rock ports. Stop eating my rock ports. Wait. Ports are worth different money, right? So if I get rid of all the normal... Why are you fancy? Fancy Cat's gone, no! Fancy Cat! Fancy Cat! They took my Fancy Cat. I wanted a Fancy Cat. It looks so cute. Okay. So different slimes give different plorts. And different plorts are worth different money. So. I need to know. Does that mean I should be ooh, shiny. I got a slime style? Okay. So death? I'm lost. They look evil. Why are they evil? Who made them evil? I am Emu. How you doing? How dare you? Unk, really? I need goth chickens. Goth chickens are important. That's fair. I would also not share my my food with goth. Wait, no, not goth. What were we doing? Y'all, I don't know what we've been doing. I'm so lost. Okay, I was there. Okay, now I'm here. It is a really nice vibe, but I'm so lost. Ah, that's death. Okay. I've not been here before. No, I've been here. Okay, wait. Hi, lion. How you doing? Doodle. My dog is stomping at me. Well, just stomp back at him. Do a little. See what happens. I believe in you. You got this. Okay, Carmilla, pretzel right now. Pretzel right now, Carmilla. Very important that you need to pretzel. Too cold? Valid. Alright, now Carmilla, unpretzel. Carmilla, you need an unpretzel. By 7. Alright, let's see. Okay, if I feed you, do you give me something different? What do you do? No. Eat. Eat the fruit. Why won't you eat the fruit? Y'all will eat the fruit though, right? There we go. Okay. I refuse to read. I will never read. You cannot make me. You can try your dang hardest, but I will not read. Clearly, if reading was needed, they should have read it to me. Aren't you reading chat? No. What do you mean? I can't read. How did it even work? How does reading even work? Explain reading to me right now. That you can't. Can't do it, can you? Can you read me a bedtime story? Once upon a time. Once upon a time. The end. I would, but you'd have to read it. Oh, you're right. Go through school again? I can't. They'll hunt me for sport. Eat the chicken! Fine. Come here, big cat. Oh, thank you for the head mats. Eat. Okay, so if I make the hen, if I make the cat, he eats less, right? That's actually valid, Rava. You did a good one on that one. And then they'll give me stuff, right? And they give me more stuff because they cat and big. And the cat that with the big is worth more. Yes. Okay. I got it. I'm a genius. Well, the tabby is worth more than the normal one. So, what you're telling me is I need to sacrifice cats to slimes so I can have more money. Got it. I will see if I can find cats to feed to slimes. for more money. Rock boy, come here, rock boy. Oh, you're too big. Exclusively feed cats to slimes. On it. Chat, how many of you are cats? How many of you can I feed to the slimes? Ferret. I'm an owl. Strictly dogs only. That's valid. That's valid. Hi, Cade. Do slimes eat foxes? Question. Would a slime eat a fox? You're a wolf? Okay, idea. Cage? New cage. Corral. Oh, costs too much. Too expensive. A universal being? Can universal beings be consumed? You're actually secretly a werewolf. I'm sorry, but the secret's been exposed now. Everybody knows. He ate the other one! Don't eat the slimes! I thought they only ate the slime poop! Why are they eating the other slimes? Don't eat the other slimes! I'll protect you! Keep it, kitty. Rockman! Thank you for the lurkies. You feel like this? Yeah, you all do keep eating things that you shouldn't be eating. It's crazy. Like, why would you do that? Okay, I won't feed you. Yeah, what normal things do you eat? You only eat, like, chicken nuggets, which is insane that you only eat chicken nuggets. I understand the tisms be tisming, but, like, come on, like, increase the variety of stuff you eat. Carmia, have you just been zoning out? Oh, yeah, you also eat weird things like lemons. Carmia, have you just been zoning out? Fine, we gotta have a new conversation topic. New conversation topic, 300, the movie. What is your opinions on the 300 movie? I don't know why that was the first thing that came to my mind, but it is, so deal with it. Don't know? Great. Great topic. We did well. We did great. Oh, whoops. Never heard of it? Ah. Okay, it's the one where the Spartans go to, the place, and they, Thank you for the follow. This is Sparta, yeah, this is Sparta, you know the one, they do the battle, there's 300 of them. You're stuck in ads? That's too damn bad. Can't help you with that one. Hello, Nia. Do you know what slime tutorials are? I assume tutorials that you give to slimes. Eat it. Eat it, nerd. Hand me down, Kratos. Shaka. How you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now we're gonna put the hens in here. Drink a whole bottle of wine by myself, now I'm in heaven. Don't do that, Nia. Recharge your brain, I believe in you. You got this, Anada. Honestly, that's valid. I am a bit overstimulating today. You know what? I will calm down right now. It is now calm, chat. Alright, we're calm. We're easy, we're relaxed. I'm here with you. You're gonna take some deep breaths with me, okay? You ready? A little deep breath in. And out. In. Out. How are you feeling? I'm just gonna be really close to the mic now in ASMR style, so we're just gonna whisper into it. Yeah, why not? If these slimes are annoying me a little bit, but hey, it is what it is. Lightheaded. You need to inhale as much as you exhale. Go to sleep, Katami. I believe in you. You got this. What are you? That's expensive. Jeez. Ready? And exhale. I need more money. All right, chat. Inhale. Exhale. Oh no, I drank water while I was breathing. I didn't exhale. I just drank water. Can you not drink water while you're holding your breath? I can. Well, you didn't mention the heavy cup. Also, the heavy cup is currently being washed. I don't have it with me. These slimes are so annoying. I want to move on to the next day of slimes. How do I skip? Oh, wait. Okay. No. Da-da-da. There we go. There's DLC? Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, cool. Well, more like a request. What is your request, Stellar? I may or may not abide. No promises. Thank you for the follow, Lottie Lofty. How you doing? Welcome to the menagerie. Alright, eat. Fatty, come here. Eat your chicken. Not you. Sorry, I have to go down. No, somebody said, wait. What's the request? Somebody said request. Thank you for the bunk. Who said something about something? Oh, I'm specifically going to be reading a indie story. I got permission from an indie author to be reading their book, but I would totally read your story sometime. If you want to post it in the writing section of the Discord. Be right back. Ignore the fact that I'm sneaking out of the cage, don't you dare. When did what happen? Bumble. 3 minutes while swimming underwater. There's a method. It's not exactly holding one breath, although it's involved. Really? I would not know, May. All I can do is just inhale a lot because I have been doing singing practice. I don't know how long that was. Hopefully it was good enough. All right, I got you, sweetie. Still going, growing them lovely things. But also, good morning, Moo Moo. How you doing? All right, we're gonna feed some carrots to these lovelies. Eat the carrots, nerds. Oh, phosphorus slimes. What do you eat? Guess we'll find out in a second. You can have a carrot because you're a nerd. Nerds are allowed carrots. All right. Wait, what are you trying to kill me for? Why do you gotta kill me? There ain't nothing you need to kill me for. I am absolutely fantastic. I don't need no kill. He's lucky he's cute. No, I'm lucky because that's my name. What do you mean? What is going on here? Why am I being a... Why, huh? Hi, Ingy. Explode right now. I can't explode. I'm not legally allowed to explode. The government stops me. Fine, I'll explode right now. Give me a second. You're not based? What are you based on? Just because I stepped on a piece of rice or stepped on a cake does not make me unlucky. Why are we flipping tables? Waffle toes? What does waffle toes mean? Nothing happened with rice. I did not do anything to rice. All right. Do you eat carrots? What do you eat? What do y'all eat? You don't eat carrots. Why do I got all these carrots? Do y'all not know about... I mean, really? Croissant. Fine. All right, so here's what happened with the cake. So, I made myself a cake, right? And I wanted to take a picture of this lovely, lovely cake. And so, me not having a table at the time, where did I put it? I put it on my bed. And so when I put it on my bed, forgot about it while taking a call. Speaking of, I'm currently on call, so let me make sure I ain't got no notifications. Anyways, so I brought my leg down, I hit it, and turns out the cake was there the whole time. Yeah. Yeah, Discord link is right there in the chat. So yeah. No, I put my foot on the cake. That's it. But the cake was fine. I still ate it later. Oh, I accidentally made... Okay, do you know about perpetual soup? Do y'all know about perpetual soup? Okay? Perpetual soup is a thing. They flew out of the cage because I'm an idiot. Okay, so perpetual soup is basically you keep a crock pot or something on like a nice low temperature for a while, so that thank you. Okay, so you keep a soup at like a low temperature, so it basically kills any bacteria, and then you reheat, you like bring it up to temperature when you go to actually eat it, and you can basically just keep adding like liquid and stuff to it to keep it going, right? Well, I was gonna do that. And I was like, okay, you know what I could add to this to add some more content to the perpetual soup? I could add rice to it. I forgot that rice goes crazy and absorbs all liquid. And so instead of, you know, making a perpetual soup, I basically just made, well, you know, I can't even think of what the word for it is. But yeah, I just made really, really, really soggy rice. Oh, they jump too high. It was still tasty. Well, no. You know, a risotto. I made a risotto, basically. I made a Cajun risotto. Vestige Inc., I have seen your name before, yes. Rice. Risotto, that's exactly what risotto is! You take rice, you put it with broth, you keep mixing it up, and you keep soaking up until it's nice. Oh, congratulations on passing your exam. Well done. Yeah. You don't know what a risotto is? Google risotto. Well, I'm proud of you. Good job. What do you mean forever? The glass still hasn't been cleaned. There's totally not glass behind my toilet in the bathroom. Look, everything else is clean except the glass behind the toilet. I just don't want to deal with broken glass right now. Possibly. I procrastinate quite often. You should not be surprised. Too bad. Pummel Redeem is gone. Oh, that because I accidentally knocked a cup over. That's it. No, it's behind the toilet in my bathroom. So it's not just, you know, there. It's somewhere specific. Of course. Why would I step on it? Not that much of a nerd. Hello, Danny. I have a brand, I maintain the brand. You cannot blame me for that. Fine, we're gonna feed these stupid... I need money! It's not active right now. I'm just vibing today. If I could have any dessert right now, what would it be? Ooh, good question. Well, I don't know, actually. I'm not really feeling anything sweet right now. I want something savory, but I do have some chicken tikka masala coming, so that's gonna be nice. Ooh, thank you so much for the Wadim. Chicken tikka masala? Chicken tikka masala. The chicken curry. It's delicious. No, I scheduled it for after stream. I'm not gonna eat it during stream. Unless y'all really want to hear me eat that badly. You want to just hear me go... You've... Oh, Carmia, you lucky lady. Y'all want a mukbang? I might do a mukbang stream one day. Not currently. Oh. Interesting. I'm going to feed him until something happens. This is important to me. Something's going to happen if I feed him enough stuff. I know it. We're collecting all the food. You want to hear me eat something? Really? Yeah. What do you want to hear me eat? Or just want to hear me eat in general? You know what I would love to do? Oh, sweet. I don't know if you've all ever seen, there's this Korean lady, I think, who eats, like, insane amount of food. But she does it really well, and I think I figured out how she does it. Oh yeah, no, don't worry. If I do a mukbang stream, it's gonna be a mukbang stream. And I think the way that they do it is doing something like, doing a lot of rice porridge, for instance, because it is so low in calorie, but you can massively increase, like, the volume of your stomach by just, you know, doing it all the time. Oops. Yes, exactly. That's what's gonna happen. What is up? Bye, Danny. So yeah, I think if I were to eat a bunch of congee for a long time, I could expand my stomach to the point while still being nice and good shape. And then I can do, like, giant food mukbangs. Why? Why does anybody do anything? That's the plan. I need to find the big slime again, though. Where was the big slime? Sorry. Mwah. You've never seen this game before? It's kind of fun, Neo. Definitely try it. Yep, I lost the water. Oh, wait, we're almost there. So that's home. This is, I mean, does the game say what game it is? I don't know if I have it set up right. It should say Slime Rancher. Have you ever had Nando's? I think I might have had Nando's, but I don't remember, actually. If you could have an amazing buffet with anyone and just talk and eat for hours, who would you do it with? Myself. I really want to just eat a buffet and sit there and do nothing. No. Let me think. Well, no, it has to be one person, right? Is it one person or, like, any amount of people? Cause heck, I would 100% stream a buffet. I think that'd be sick. Oh, what's this? Ooh! Ball. Oh, any amount? Yeah, I would just live stream a buffet. That'd be great. Of course, I couldn't really live stream a buffet because I'm a VTuber, so, you know, I don't know the point, honestly. I could do it anywhere, and it's going to be the exact same thing. Oh, they're sparkly now. Hand cam. If you could sit down with 4 people from history and ask them anything, who and what would you ask them? I'd ask my parents why. No. Let me legitimately think about this. I would love to talk to Edgar Allan Poe. I think talking to Edgar Allan Poe would be great. Oh, thingy. Just to, you know, I'll first figure out how he died. If I only get one question, then I'd be like, yo, how'd you die? Because I'm curious. But I'd love to talk to him about his writing and such. Then let me think. From anyone from history, I'd like to talk to the next lottery winner before they win the lottery, just to figure out what numbers they're planning on putting in. I'd like to talk to past Gene. I think talking to myself in the past would be great. Just kind of get a vibe of the situation, you know? Yeah. If I only get one question, it's different, but, yeah. I don't know. I can't think of the fourth one. They're making noises, of course. I don't know what kind of noises they're making, but they're definitely making them. You didn't get attacked by foxes? I'm so proud of you not being attacked by a fox. How do I turn you? Ooh, teleport. Okay. Future Gene. Future Gene would be cool to talk to. Yeah, I would like to talk to Future Gene to be like, yo, Future Gene, what did it take? Did we make it as a content creator? Are we a famous content creator yet? Thank you for the follow. Welcome to the menagerie. Did all my dreams come true, or did everything come crashing down? You know what? No, I don't want to know that. I would rather keep going forward. If this doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. If it does, it does. But I love doing it. Yeah, we enjoyed the journey. Knowing the end is not going to enjoy it. Are in the basement? Oof. If we count all the followers, probably 35,000 at this point. Because I know TikTok is at 25. YouTube is approaching 3 or 4. I think it's at 3. Twitter is still at 1. Instagram is at 2, and we're over 3 here. So, you know. New prices! Woo! Thank you for the stretch. Greatly appreciated. What'd you miss? Not much. We're just feeding these guys. Hoping eventually they'll give me something worthwhile. Give me enough money. I wonder if the rock ones won't escape. There's a thought. Maybe the rock ones won't escape. Yeah. Carrots. We're gonna go grab some rock ones and see what those do. And then figure out what they eat. The rock ones eat... Ah. You're Carmia. Bye-bye, Nia. Sleep well, Carmia. Excuse me. Excuse me, hon. Rock ones eat veggies. Thank you. That's good. Okay, we can get them. Let's get the rock ones. If you could enter any game and play it yourself, what game would you pick? I don't know. Then, honestly, like, I cannot think of a single game that I would survive. Maybe, well, and because the thing is, like, does my life end when the game ends, or does it keep going afterwards? That's an important question. Ah, hello. What's this? Ooh, secret tunnel. Secret tunnel, through the mountains, secret, 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 secret tunnel. I continue to live. A game where I can make a bunch of money. Random game I can make a bunch of money. Something dumb, probably. The game that has the easiest way to make money. Maybe The Sims. Imagine just living in The Sims. Then you could just, you know, live your life as a video game. And all I have to do is go, Zumbaba, doobie, looby. Cookie clicker. Gibbets, I would not like the world to end in cookies. Personal grievance, don't end the world with cookies, okay? Do something! Do something, you big nerd! Oh, he's doing something! Woo! It's a box! Square fruit! Interesting. Heartbeat! Okay, cool, we got cool new veggies. The real cookies, the ones we made it on the way. It got... There's another bigger one. Good to know, good to know. Alright. Rock boys. Where are my rock boys? Where are my rock lads? Where am them rocky mans? Give me a rock boy. Where are my rock... Where are my rock... Where are my rock guys? Where am I? Hello, stray cat. Where are my rock boys? Did they eat all the rock boys? Rock boy! Rock boy! Rock boy! Oh, I saved you, rock boy. It's okay, rock boy. I'll keep you safe forever. Shh, it's okay, rock boy. I know you're my only rock boy, but we'll find more. We'll find more. Wait, what? Did Moo Moo say something? I missed Moo Moo's message. Moo Moo's ignoring me. Moo Moo hates me, chat. Oh, Mukia's name is Moo Moo. Lovelies. In case you're wondering, why are you saying Moo Moo? That's why. I want these stones, but I don't know how much they're worth. Welcome back. You cannot guarantee forever? What do you mean I can't guarantee forever? Try me. Ow! Oh, a cat cafe manager. That'd be sick. Yeah. Oh, nothing. Don't worry about it. It's fine. Nothing. Nothing's going on at all. It's fine. Thank you for the follow, stray cat. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, can I change you to a different veggie? Okay, we're gonna remove crops. And now we're gonna put a cube berry. Yes. Look at that cubey boy. Does eggnog have dairy? Yes. Purchase. Oh, that's what we need. Oh, didn't even think of that being an option. Okay, eat the berry. Eat the berry. Eat the berry. Eat the berry, nerd. Eat the berry. You. Eat the rock. Don't attack me. What? Well, you say that and it makes sense. Fight me IRL. 1v1 me, let's go. You'll win. Lies. Lies and slander. You're lactose intolerant? I know, but like, you know, fight against your intolerance. We only want acceptance here. Lactose acceptance. Drink the milk. Let it ruin your stomach. I'm throwing you into a cliff. I'm throwing you into a ravine. You ate all my chickens. I need those. Goodbye, pink slime. I will do the same to any of you. I will do the same to any of you if you eat the things that I need. Sorry, it has to happen. You're dying? That's rough, bud. Eat the chicken, you get yeeted into a ravine. No cage. Guess I'm vegetarian now. Valid. You ate my teeth? No. I've been waiting for that. I'm hungry. Don't eat my food. So mean to me. Need more money. Okay, can I get a... Okay, auto feeder. Okay, I need a lot of money. I'm gonna go find more rock boys. They make good money. Well, there's just so many of you, okay? You can't blame me for that. There's just so many. Wait, to the path left of the rock boys is more rock boys? Got it. Do you eat my rock boys? No! My rock boys! You'll be saved! What is that? 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 Why is there a weird pumpkin? What are you? Oh, wait! What are you? Huh. Ready for the hydrates? Okay. They're gone. Ready for the stretch? And the hydrate. Yeah. Give me rock, boys, or give me death. We need more rocks. Yeah. She Warren. Where did I debut? I didn't. She wore an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time that day. An itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini that she wore for the first time that day. Technically, my re-debut with a new model will be my first debut. Terrifying, scary, no, sorry. Yeah, I can do something, I got this. All right, no, don't hurt me. Violence, stop committing violence against me, no. God damn. God damn, I'm so sorry that I did that. I got this. Well, you know, sometimes you die, other times you live. This weren't one of them times. Girly Pop, you don't even like them fruits. What are you doing in here? Why are my chickens still gone? They eat all my chickens? I ain't got no chickens left. Ooh. Wow, you rock. Ooh, woo. I said the Neko eats chicken. They ate my chickens. Eat. You know what? Everybody gets to be one. No, go away. Thank you for the bong. Thank you for the hits. All right. Y'all get in here. Become rock. Stop throwing them over the ledges. No. Thank you for the follow. There we go. That'll earn me some money. There we go. That should be enough money right there. You get a roof. Well, maybe if the roof weren't on fire. Yeah, look at that money! Woo! It's Gene with the Voidlands. Look at all that money. You know what that means we can do? Plort collector. Yeah! Get in the cage. Stop spinning and get in the cage. There we go. Bye, Boku. Bye, Boku, sweetie. Mwah. Where you going, Boku? I miss you. Don't leave me. Wait, what if we put all the rock boys in the big... No, I already put the plort collector over here. All right, here we go. All right, we gotta go get some more veggies. I think I'm understanding this game now. Y'all, I'm getting good at this one, right? Do you think I'm doing good, chat? Hey, don't eat... Oh, you can have them. I think I'm doing amazing. I'm doing great. What do you mean? You're getting better by the minute? Exactly, and there's only so many minutes, so, you know, soon I'll be amazing. Oh, it's fine. I get it. I get it, Boku. You hate me, and you... No, I'm not gonna do that. You're fine. You're fine. I appreciate you anyways. Thank you so much for coming by, as always. Alright, we got veggies. Oh, you right. Dang it! Alright, you know what I think? I need some cringe. What do y'all got for me for a cringe line? What's the cringiest thing I could say right now? Hey, thank you for the follow, Archivist. I like your name. What do you do, Archivist? Do you do archivy? Archivy? You want to do hey, yo, girl. you do an archivy? Yeah. Is that a Magnus reference? Oh man, I love the Magnus. Magnus Archive is the absolute best. Girl, why are you red? You want to do like a what's up everybody, it's me. And we're here to greet the top 33 Minecraft facts of today. Fact number 1, Minecraft isn't real. It's true facts. Minecraft wasn't a real game. I made it up. Okay, brain rot. Okay, fine. You ready? You ready? 6, 7. You got this. Are you from Tennessee? Because you're the only 10 I see. You said say something cringe because I self-deprecated. You can't let me, you can't be like, Gene, say something cringe. And I say something cringe and you're like, not that cringe. Too cringe. Canceled. What is this? That ain't fair. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm sorry. There you go. Did you fall from heaven? Did it hurt? When you crawled up from hell, you she-devil! Sorry. You know what one of my favorite ones is? Hey, does your face hurt? 'Cause it's hurting me. Yeah, Sky, you got a cringe line for me that I can read? What you got for me? Ow. Wait, you? I self-deprecated, so now I need to say a cringe line. I'm not allowed to be self-deprecating. That's the newest one I did. If I didn't want to be single, I could just not be single. You know that is an option. I am actively choosing to remain single, and you can't prove otherwise. Oh, you're in my class because I swore we had chemistry? Mm-hmm. What? What? Fight me. Do you like raisins? I do, actually. No, it... Would you like a raisin? Yes, please. Oh, well, okay. Now what? Help! Chat, help! Alright, rock slimes. Don't get eaten, I believe in you. Alright. Ow, stop hitting me! 9 minutes to 2 hours. Thank you, sweetie. Wait, what was that? What was that about respect is needed? That's fair. Yeah. All right. Oh, I hope our love will be like pie. Irrational and endless. Hey! Ow. Ow! Stop hitting me! Bro! What the heck? What is what? Fine. I'll do the Deutsch first right now. How do I get rid of these guys? What is this going on? Fine, I will do it for you, but why are these people here? Water? I have no water! Evil gang, don't you evil gang me! Sounds German, but it's not German. Weißt du was? Ich bin Deutsch, doch. Ich kann Deutsch sprechen. Meine Mutter ist Deutsch und ich bin halb Deutsch und ich habe ein bisschen auf Deutschland gewohnt. So ja, alles gut jetzt? Warst du was anderes oder war da gut genug? Evil gang. Evil gang. Laughing all the way to the bank. Ah! Shit. Well, we can't speak Spanish, so fight me. Arf. There you go. That was a good bark. I did good. I want to learn Spanish, but currently we're trying to learn Japanese, so, you know, one day at a time. That was a good bark. I'm kind of impressed, honestly. Please only have conversations I can be part of. Well, I'm taking a break from therapy right now because therapy is very, very expensive, and I don't have the money to maintain it right now, unfortunately. Yeah. I mean, Japanese lessons for one day, for an hour, is $30. Therapy is $121, and I do that for like 4 times a month. So, yeah. Maybe, nah. Lovelies, I do appreciate that you can speak Spanish, but please only have conversations I can be part of here. Thank you. Well, you got me. Yeah, eventually I will learn Spanish, and then we can have these conversations. I promise. Oh, do y'all not? Yeah, I can tell you what a garbage disposal is. Garbage disposal specifically is a thing we have in the sink. Basically, it's just a thing that is like a metal chopper that'll chop up like food that you put into the sink. It's mostly intended for like some like vegetables or like some additional like stuff that you don't want to throw into the trash can because they would rot. Like when you don't want things to rot in the trash can, you throw it into the garbage disposal and it will chop it up and send it down the water. No, not all countries have garbage disposals. Actually, it's mostly an American thing. Now people use it for all sorts of food and put way more in it than they should, but you know. When don't people do that? Okay. So I think I need to build a water source here in case the thing happens again. So we're going to build a little lake. Yeah. Build a lake real quick. Pond. Purchase. Let's see if we can upgrade one of these with like a lid. I should probably actually do them. Ugh. I do believe that lemons are man-made. I believe you. Oh, not enough bucks. All right. Well, everybody, that's going to be the end for today. Let's see if I can send you all to somewhere, okay? When will I eat a lemon? I will not eat a lemon. Exactly. So let's see who we can raid out to. Now we have an option. I can either see if there's anybody streaming Slime Rancher right now, and we'll raid into them. Oh, there are some VTubers playing Slime Rancher. Should we raid into somebody playing Slime Rancher? Okay, we have Little Pocket. Here. Okay. Wait. We're gonna. I want y'all to be very sweet and kind to this person. I don't know who they are. Let me hear what their mic sounds like. Bet. Oh wait. I need to see. One second. Y'all stay here. We're gonna. Give me a second. We're gonna see. They seem nice. They seem lovely. They seem really, really cute. Come on. I need to see if they'll answer. Come on. Because we're gonna check them out. I think they're great. They're too focused on the game. They're too focused on the game. Fine, we'll raid into them. All right, lovelies, you ready? Be very kind. Be very sweet. Be as kind and adorable as I know you are. Can we get the raid message, please? There we go. There's Lucky Raid. All right. Ready. 5, 4, 3, 2. Mwah.